Well, good afternoon, Flosstube. I'm Debbie, and welcome back to Grandma's World. Do you believe this? How big this is? I can't grow peonies here in Southern California. And so when Trader Joe's starts getting them in around Mother's Day, I keep buying them and enjoying them as long as I can. This one is stunning. Look how big it is compared to my head. Really beautiful. So, don't know how much longer. I've actually been surprised by how long they've been in the store. Because they're usually only there a couple of weeks. So, yeah, I'm just grateful that they have them. I'm really enjoying them this year. So I did something that is very typical for me. I love to work in my garden, and I live in Southern California where it gets quite warm. It's been really hot for springtime here along the coast, up in the 90s. I know that doesn't sound like much if you're from inland, but it was pretty hot for us here. You know, I live in one of the, I don't live on the coast. I can't walk down the street and go to the beach. But if I could climb up on my roof, I could see the ocean from here, and that's close enough to get the Mediterranean mitigation of all kinds of weather here. And so it skipped us. Last couple of days, it got pretty warm. So my habit is, what I like to do is go out in the morning. I like to be out by about 7 or 8 and work in my yard before it starts getting too hot. And this morning I have the day pretty much to myself. I'm not going to go, it's not one of my days to go visit my mom who lives in another town. I was there yesterday. So I went out to do about an hour's work. I'm removing my lawn. It's almost done. It's taken me a year because I'm just digging it out one shovelful at a time. And I really wanted, it was just almost an emotional thing, that I wanted to cut a path through the piece of what I call the meadow. I wanted to cut a path across it to have access to the other side. It's not very big. It's maybe 8 feet wide by 10 or 12 feet long. It's what's left of the lawn. The grass is really high right now. And it has poppies in it and sweet alyssum in it and some other things that I don't even know what they are. And it needs to come out. What I want is the Bermuda grass out. And this is the last of my entire Bermuda grass. I call it crap grass because I can't stand it. It's almost gone. And I figure I have about 2 more weeks work, and then it will all be gone and I can continue the planting. I've been planting California native flowering plants. As I clear it, I plant them. They're perennials. They're all coming into bloom right now, so they're really beautiful. And ultimately what I want is my meadow back, but it needs to be without the grass, and then it needs to be socially acceptable, because I just live in a Southern California tract house. We don't have an HOA here, thank goodness, but we do have what I call the garden police, or the code police, who will drive around every spring and cite people for not mowing their lawn or having weeds that were too tall. And when I had the meadow out there, I got cited. And they wanted me to mow down on my grass, and I'm going, no, I'm digging it up. I'm not going to mow it down and let it get stronger. I'm in the process of digging it up. So what I want eventually is to replant these native plants in there so that the wildlife is invited back in. But it's done in such a way that people won't take offense at my yard. So I went out to work for about an hour at the digging of the piece I wanted. I wanted to cut across this piece that was 8 foot wide by 12 feet long. We're kind of right in the middle to give myself access to the flower beds that are on the other side of it. And I don't, it just, that idea of digging out this crappy grass and creating a pathway from one side to the other for me sounded symbolic. It felt symbolic in a way of kind of what our country's going through right now. Just we need to cut through the crap and get one side with the other side. And my sympathies are all with Black Lives Matter. That this has gone on, this has been dragging on. I was a history teacher for 25 years. This is just one more battle of the Civil War dragging on again. The difference is that this time it's like the generations have been teaching these young people, and they get a little bit better at it every generation. And these young folks are amazing this time around. So, you know, I'll just keep sending my supportive energy as best I can to what they're doing. But digging that pathway, like I said, it just kind of felt symbolic to me. So cross stitch, I don't know how this is going to go. Once our state opened up, the product that I was ordering to get ready for Maynia that never got here, the fabrics that never got here for Maynia, all kinds of stuff that never showed up, all of a sudden started showing up, all in the same week. So what I have looks like it's going to end up being a haul video more than anything else. But I'll try to make some sense out of it as I go. To start off, I have 2 pieces of Maynia to report on the last 2 days of May. For the last 2 projects. I had 3 days left after my most recent post, but I didn't have the fabric to do the last project. So this is one of the Halloween projects, and this is a line of fabric. I made the bag, and it's a line of fabric called the Gasleys. And I just love this family. They crack me up. And because I had to do some cutting, it was a panel that had a lot of these little squares, and I just picked my 9 favorite and cut them out and sewed them back together. But I love the flies with the Venus flytrap. It usually comes out around Halloween time, but they've become so popular that you can find them year-round. The fish with the cat's shadow over it. They are all grumpy. All of the characters in this line are so grumpy. This one tickles me, the beautiful hand with a beautiful ring holding onto the grumpy moth. So anyway, this one was really fun to do. Just another one of those fabrics that I bought, never really intending to do anything with it. And then Maynia came along, and I was able to make all these envelopes using all this fabric. And then I really enjoy it. So what I started in this one is a Soda Stitch Halloween. I bought 2 Halloween charts from Soda Stitch, and this is one of them. But this is the one that I started for Maynia. The last time that I was in Utah, I had bought a fairly large piece of this Greene fabric. And I really do like it, a lot. And there was enough of it to do both pieces in this Greene. So I got started with, what did I say? It's this one. So I'm kind of in the middle here with these little girls. I'm missing some flosses, and that will get into the whole haul thing, because I had a list of flosses I was missing, and it disappointed me because as I was working on this, it was some of the fun colors to do with this. Like her, I don't think I had the color for her braids and the red braids, and I just didn't have everything that I needed to do that. No, I did have the braids. It was something else on this one. So anyway, I did get that started. I don't know where it's going to go from here, and I'll talk more about that in a minute. And then the last Halloween that I did, that I got started for Maynia, was this one that Gary from Sunshine Stitchers introduced us to on another piece of fabric. This was a piece of fabric that was delivered, and I was really disappointed in it. It wasn't what I thought it was. I couldn't use it for what I thought I was going to use it for. But when it was time to start kitting this up, I said, oh, wait, that would look really good with that. So I started this one on this, and I started at the bottom. And this is one that I was still missing a lot of floss for it, so I couldn't really have as much fun as I wanted to. But that was my evening's stitch. And if you're new to this process, for me anyway, what I was doing was I got everything kitted up before May started, before Maynia, and then had it set up. I have a whole bunch of these bags. Each bag has a, here's this one, just another piece of fabric that I really enjoyed. Didn't really buy enough to do a quilt or anything with, but it worked out great as a project bag. And then I made little tags. So these May 31st, this is where I had Spooky Tree. And my routine was that I would get my day, do my day, whatever that looked like. I would, at 7 o'clock, call the day done, get my shower, put my jammies on, go in my sewing room. I have a recliner in there, get myself in the recliner, and I would stitch on the Maynia project of that day. Once I would get it started, and then once it was started, I would stitch for half an hour. If I wanted to continue then, and I continued to stitch for a couple of hours after that, if I wanted it to be on my Maynia project, I continued with the Maynia project, and I usually did because they're all fun projects. But if I did not want to do Maynia projects, then I didn't have to. I could go do something else for the rest of the evening. And the first Maynia, one of the first Maynia projects I started was Shores of Hawk Run Hollow, and that's what I usually worked on because I had a goal for that by the end of the month. Okay, so that was the end of Maynia. Those were my last two. And then I still have two projects that I can't start because I wasn't able to do during Maynia because I didn't get the fabrics in time. And one of them is this one. What I love about this one is the bird on the branch with the stocking. I'm not interested in all the city in the background. I just wanted the bird, the plant, the branch, and the stocking. I had originally done it, I'm gonna sneeze. Excuse me. When you go out and, I didn't finish my story. My 1 hour out in front to do the chore I wanted to do developed into 4 hours. So I've been out there in the grass digging for 4 hours. I have no energy left. My back, I probably am not going to be able to get into my bed tonight because I mistreated it. But it feels so good to get that done. So there's a story about this. I've told it once before, so I'll just tell it again quickly. This is a start from several years ago. I bought the fabric at the last Cats convention that they had in LA and got started on it. You can see I got a long way on it and then left it. I don't know if you can tell, but this is the fabric. What the fabric looked like down here. It was blues. It's an opalescent, so it's real sparkly. And I left it on the frame under the skylights and all of the blue faded out, and I was left with just plain white. The white still has opalescence, but there's no blue left in it. And so I chastised myself for wasting all that time and money, bought myself another piece of opalescent so I could redo it the way I wanted to do it. But in the years that have passed since then, I've had some physical issues have come up, not the least of which is having had a retinal detachment. And when they fixed it, which they did, and I'm very grateful, but there's a little bit of a scar. It was completely detached, even the macula, and had been for a little while. And so when they reattached it, I ended up with one little bitty scar that causes no real issues with my day-to-day life. But if I want to do things like look up at the line on the ceiling with just that eye, it kind of has a Dr. Seuss feel to it. It's kind of wonky. And when you're working on these linens and you can't keep a straight line in your sight, it gets kind of hard to do. So I didn't want to do the linen again. I started hunting down another piece of fabric for it, and Gary on Sunshine Stitchers had ordered this piece from Primitive Hair, and I fell in love with it and thought that this bird would look fantastic on it. But she doesn't do Aidas, which is pretty much all I stitch on anymore because of my sight vision problems. Plus I have essential tremor, and between my hands shaking and the vision issues, linens are really hard. But I loved this so much, I went ahead and ordered it. And when it came, the snowflakes and all were bigger than I thought they would be, and I thought they would overwhelm the bird. So I decided not to use this one after all. And I've been just sitting and kind of waiting. And then finally one day, I have had such a good experience with Stitchery Express. With a few different pieces of fabric. I love their service, and I love Gavork's design, the way he sees fabric. And so I said, I'm going to poke through there and see to that site and see if they have something I could do for that bird. And I went through it, and I got so excited about this. What I ordered was a piece of Aida that has the music to the song White Christmas on it. And I'm going to stitch that little bird with that music in the background. I think that's going to be darling. But it's not here yet, so I can't start it yet. Way too early. I only ordered it a week or so ago, so it's going to take a while to get here. But that'll be fun when it happens. And then the other projects that I couldn't start because the fabric didn't come in were two by Kathy Haberman. Kathy Haberman. Yes, Haberman. Fell in love with these, absolutely fell in love with these when I first saw them. The one that most caught me was this one. It's called Wild Salt Air. And it says, I dream of the sea and the wild salt air. And then it has, I don't know, just her choice of color and the design, what she put on it really caught me. And then at the same time that I was on her site and decided to order that one, I came across this one, and I loved this one too. This is the Good Ship Sampler, which has other pieces with it. It has the sampler part, and then it has this piece here, which I also love. And it says, there are good ships and wood ships and ships that sail the sea, but the best ships are friendships, may they always be. There is nothing about either one of these pieces that I am not crazy about. I like both of them. And I like them so much, I want to do them exactly the way she designed them. So I ordered the Romy's flosses. I think there's one that I couldn't find, and I subbed in a Gentle Arts for it. But the fabric didn't come, and the fabric didn't come. It's a fabric by Stephanie color called Friendship Green. Yeah. Called Friendship Green. And I want to use the colors. I want to use the colors that she used. And it didn't come in and didn't come in. And I kept moving the project. It was in the first week of Maynia, and I didn't get the fabrics. Then it was in the second week in Maynia, and I didn't get the fabric. And I think it was toward the end of, it had been toward the end of April, I think, when Stephanie called me and explained that while the friendship green wasn't a problem, she had that. I had ordered, of course, I went to her site. She does fabulous fabrics. And I said, oh, I'm going to order this one and this one and this one. And the ones that I ordered, she explained, there were 2 of them that she couldn't make anymore because the company where she'd been buying the minerals to make those colors was no longer mining those minerals. And so she was kind of stuck. She said it affected about 20 of her fabrics that she usually offers. And so she made some suggestions of what she thought would be a good substitution. I said, fine, absolutely. But it then at that point, so that was the end of April, at that point now it's going to take some time for her to actually dye those fabrics in the ones that I want, because I wanted all 16 Aidas. And that's not necessarily something they keep on the shelves. So I had to wait for all of that to happen. And it ended up coming in, I think it was in my mailbox when I got home on Monday, which would have been the 2nd of June. So it's okay. I've got my friendship green. I've got my Romy's colors. I'm going to use the Romy's colors on both of them, on the Good Ship sampler and the Wild Salt Air. I'll just do the conversions on Wild Salt Air so that they really do match each other. But I'm super excited about it. It's not a Maynia Start, but I do have them together now in my little bag that I made for my Kathy Haberman ocean things. And it goes up close to the top of the list. What I wanted to explain before I go much further is that I ended up doing about 28 starts for Maynia. I had kitted up 32, but because of missing fabric and or flosses or whatever, I ended up doing 28. And I don't know how I'm going to keep that going through the year. I would like to finish some things. And if I'd only worked on, because some people say, well, okay, if I started it on the 1st of May, I'm going to work on that one on the 1st of June. And if I started it on the 2nd of May, I'm going to work on that one on the 2nd of June. I don't think I don't work fast enough to finish anything if I do that. So what I concluded was that I needed to really kind of whittle the stack down of all that I had started. I started 28, and I needed to kind of do a Marie Kondo thing and go through and see which ones were bringing me the most joy. And I wanted to keep working on, which was kind of hard because if I hadn't loved them, I wouldn't have put them in my Maynia collection, right? So I managed to get, my goal was to get it down to like 4 or 5. And then my plan was that I would work on one of them for the first week of the month and then another one for the second week of the month. And I'm able to work for about 2 hours at night. So that would be, 14 hours a month, and I might get some of them done. But when I started to go through them and do the whole which ones bring me the most joy, I couldn't get it down to 4 or 5. I got it down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I got it down to 9 plus the Kathy Haberman, so that's 11. Plus the Christmas bird, if that fabric comes in, when that fabric comes in, I want that to be in the year, be something I work on in the year. Plus I have a birthday this month, and I have a birthday project that I want to start. So I still need to refine the system. But, and you haven't even seen my haul yet, so I'm not going to worry. I'm not going to worry about it too much. I'm just going to enjoy. And I keep looking at how other people, you know, looking at their videos about their ideas for finishing up Maynia projects, and I'll figure it out, or I won't. You know, it's a hobby. It's gonna do its thing. All right, so progress for this week, I really focused, once I got those last two Maynia projects started, I then focused on the shores of Hawk Run Hollow. And I am hoping, or my plan is, actually I think it goes this way. I want to get all of the border boxes, the box borders, I want to get them all done, which is going to give me a lot of benchmarks and landmarks to make sure that I'm getting the designs in the right places. And so I've just been working on this in the evening. What has really helped me with this, is that Carolyn Zook from Zook Stitches has started a Hawk Run Hollow Facebook page. I don't think it's a Sal, because you get to work on whatever you want to work on. And even if you haven't started a Hawk Run Hollow, if you like the designs and you think you might want to do one sometime, she's inviting you to come and join her page. And I got to tell you, Carolyn's special in the sense that she sets such a nice energy for everything that she does. I love to watch her Flosstube videos, and the Hawk Run Hollow Facebook page is just getting started, but she's already set this very kind of relaxed and comforting. It's just a lovely place to be, and that everybody knows, pretty much at least knows what Hawk Run Hollow is. It makes a difference. So yeah, I was inspired. I wanted, it meets, well, she has, you can go in any time, but she has started with the first week, Show Me Saturday, where we get to show what we've accomplished during the week. And I wanted to have these all done by Saturday, which is tomorrow. So the plan for today was to work for an hour in the yard. I worked for 4, and then I had some sewing to do. I still want to do that. And then I'm going to settle in for the rest of the day and finish these last 2 boxes so that I can show those and then get started on the shores of Hawk Run Hollow. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to deviate from the design because I'm actually dedicating this piece to a pirate museum that I visited last fall in Cape Cod that is teaching about the recovery of the treasure from the Whydah, which is the only documented pirate ship that is in existence. Documented. We know its history. We know what happened to it. We know who some of the people were. We know who the captain was, and so on, and why he was on it and what he was doing. So I was so taken by that story that when I saw the shores of Hawk Run Hollow, I said, this is practically the story of the Whydah. With just a few little tweaks, I can make this piece really remind me of that history. One of the things that is going on with the Whydah, it's being recovered off the coast of Cape Cod now, and the museum has a lot. The museum was paid for out of money from recovery of the treasure, and then that foundation used with that money that started the museum also is continuing the work on recovering the Whydah. Where the Whydah has great white sharks. And so in the shores of Hawk Run Hollow, I found it's part of Haul, and I can't show it to you because all I got was the chart. but it was a great little chart, just a print off downline for $2.99 of a great white shark, and I think it's going to fit perfectly in the second box. I can't remember what is top and bottom. I think it's this one. So in this box, and there's supposed to be two little fishes up here, and I'm going to put this great white shark up there, and that's probably the first thing I'm going to do because it's going to be so much fun to do. So that's my project. By other than the two Maynia pieces, that's what I worked on this week and got that far. Okay, so that really just brings me up to haul. And I had a lot of presents this week, and maybe it's appropriate for my birth month, right? I'm old enough that I should get a whole month for my birthday. So what I'm gonna do is continue to share the fabrics by Stephanie that did come in. I love all of these. This one was a replacement. I had ordered one called Ariel's Grotto, and apparently it's that aqua tone that the mineral didn't come through, isn't available anymore. So she recommended this one called Cersei. Gorgeous piece. And I do so much oceany stuff that this will definitely be of value for that. Again, I do all Aidas and ordered all 16s. Aida 16. No, these are 18s. Aidas, excuse me, all 18s. And then this was another one. I think I did, I don't remember if she recommended it or if I ordered it. I think I ordered it though. It's called Calypso. And one of my favorite John Denver songs, I was a huge John Denver fan, still am. But one of my favorite of his songs was Calypso. And what I loved about it was that it was such a joyful song, and you could really feel the boat. The way that he used rhythm in it, you could feel the boat plowing through the waves and rocking on the waves. And so this really reminded me of it. That, you know, this will become an ocean piece for sure. And then finally I ordered this one. This is a green gray called The Abyss. And it's not showing well here. Well, I guess it's all right. But you can really see all her fabrics come serged on the edges. You can really see the green. I can really see the green here. I don't think it's going to show up on the camera though. Where the dye is collected. Yeah, you're not going to be able to see it. So it's a really intriguing piece. The Arite project will show up for it. They always do. But the movie The Abyss is a favorite of mine. And so that's what struck my attention at first was, oh, like the movie. So then I looked at it and I said, I think that would be a useful piece. All right, so those were the things that arrived fabric-wise. And then another thing that showed up, I had quite a while ago ordered some silks from Mrs. Sedas, and I hadn't received them. I didn't really have anything in mind for them other than to go look through her site to see people use them, first of all, and to say, oh, those are really gorgeous. And then I went to look to see what was available and bought a couple specifically for my birthday project. I got these, and I don't think I'm going to use them for that because the variegation isn't quite what I was looking for, but aren't those gorgeous? Just gorgeous flosses. And then I just went through her catalog and picked some more. So there's one. That one is labeled Darling. And this one. Beautiful, beautiful. And with my sea things that I want to do, I'm sure they'll get worked in. I have not used silk. They're all silk, which I have not used before. So that'll be an adventure. But it doesn't seem to kill anybody, so there will be no danger. And then she's very generous. She sent some thread conditioner with them. And then on her card is this cute little star needle minder. So, yeah, that was a really nice birthday box. Isn't that cute? Love it. So that was a fun one to get. And then I'm going to put this stuff all together until I get the it smells good too. Can't remember what I was going to say. Then, which came first? Chicken, okay, these came first. I bought for Maynia 3 different By the Bay patterns, 3 different By the Bay charts, and fell in love with her work and had a weak moment or a strong moment. I don't know what to say about it other than that I was feeling, it was mostly the COVID isolation, I think, but I was feeling sorry for myself. And I went in to her site, to look for, oh, I know what it was. She had announced this one, actually. So I'll show you this one first. It's called Early American Garden. And when I looked at it closely, I noticed that she had used French knots. And I love French knots. I may be the only stitcher on the planet who loves to do French knots. But I thought it was really clever the way she'd used them. Is that even thinking about focusing? Okay. And then I was reading through the pattern, and she gave us some bonuses in here. For example, this one on the cover has these just kind of regular trees, but there's another chart where you could do palm trees instead of these, which I wouldn't do because I don't like palm trees, but it was a nice option. And what I would do, there are 2 sides of the bay here. And she has a house, this picture has a house on both points of the bay, but she gave you the chart to put a lighthouse on one of them. So I'm certainly going to do that when I do it. So I went there for this one, and I ended up having a little shopping spree. No guilt. Just, it was interesting to me to have gone through the whole Maynia adventure. I have more projects kitted up than I will ever do. Certainly not in a year. Maybe not in my life. And here I am buying 8 more patterns from By the Bay Needlearts, because I really love these things. To me, they totally capture how I feel when I go to coastal Maine, which is where she is. She's in York, Maine. I've been in York, Maine. I've been in Ogunquit. I've taken a shoreline tour on a tour boat from Ogunquit to the Nubble Lighthouse in York, Maine. So I have very strong feelings for it. So I bought them her mermaid called Mermaid Cove. I'm redecorating my guest room into a mermaid theme. Mermaid and ocean, so this will really work for that. This one, I had seen this one before and it really intrigued me, and so I went ahead and bought it. It's called Stitch an Inch, and it's the fall version. Oops. Yeah, it's the fall version. Now I'm going to get it to be an inch, you have to do over 1 on one of the higher count linens. And I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do it on 18, either 18 or 16 Aida. So there won't be an inch. There'll be a couple of inches, but that's okay. But look when you line them all up. Look how that looks. Isn't that stunning? So it's a Stitch an Inch for fall. And then this caught my eye. I hadn't caught my eye the first time, called Spring Cove. And I like to visit the bird sanctuary at Morro Bay on the coast of California and see the great blue herons. And I believe that's what these are, nesting herons. Except for this one. I think this one is an egret. And I never thought about where these birds nest, but the last time I went on a whale watch, the egrets were nesting in the trees along the street, so that's pretty accurate. I already showed the Early American Garden, which is why I went to the site. And then I've always visited in the fall, and so these really captured the feel to me of fall in New England. This one is called Simply Autumn, and this was from last year. And then finally this one, by the Bay Needleart, Meadow Hills. And when we drive there, from where my friend lives to York is a 45-minute to an hour drive. And this is the feel of the countryside in the fall. And Donna's customer service is amazing. So they came in like 2 days. She filled the order the day I put it on Etsy, and then they came 2 days later. Then other things that I ordered. First of all, I'm a member of the GaRon Tottenbag monthly, and this was the June bag. They had put out a little bit of a questionnaire a month or so ago saying, you know, what kinds of things are you interested in? And a lot of people expressed their opinion of what they'd like to see, and my comment was that I like things with wings. I like birds and butterflies and fairies and anything that flies. And so what this is a moth. These are moths, but their eyes and everything, the way that they've designed them. This is Tulip Ink, by the way, is this designer who lives in the next town over from me. And I'm a Tulip Ink fan. I don't have this one in my collection, so I'm really glad to have this bag. But she's so clever. She kind of embeds things in what she designs. And in this one, what you have are these moths. Similar to here in California, we have what's called a Cecropia, and then we also have Prometheus moths. And the way the eyes are similar to those big moths like that. And of course, they look like owls, which are birds. And then inside they picked a fun June design. And I think I'm going to use this one for my birthday project since it's the June bag. And then right before they're getting ready to ship them off, Gary and Ronnie do a drawing kind of based on how many people paid their invoices on time. And this time they chose 10 people. They run a little tiny decision app with all of our names on it, and they picked 10 people to get a little bonus, and I got one this month, so I got the little Notions bag with the Tulip Ink fabric. I don't know about the inside. I don't know if that's a Tulip Ink or not. I love being part of their Bag of the Month club because it's a surprise when you get it. And what they've done now in the community is ask everybody to kind of go ahead, open your bag up, but don't show it online until the 5th of the month. Give everybody a chance to have that little rush of dopamine when you open your mail and find out what the design was for that month. It's really fun. So I'm glad to be able to do that. And then they had a sale, and I was not going to buy a bag. I have several GaRon Tottenbags. Don't really want to say I'm a collector, because when I collect something, I don't use them. I want to use them. But I'm in it for the whole year. I decided if I was going to join the Bag of the Month Club, I was going to go get all the seasons, do it for a year, and then I'll back out and give someone else a chance, because they have a waiting list. And then as far as the sales go, I wasn't going to order any bags, because I'm going to have, by the end of the year, I'm going to have plenty of GaRon Tottenbags. I went to the sale to get Grime guards, because they make the best Grime guards, and I needed multiple sizes for all this Maynia stuff. I really liked this heart fabric, and they even tell you here, they have little tags that tell you how big they are. So I ordered this for my 8x8 frames, and this one for my 11x11. Same pattern, this. Oh, I didn't realize I'd done that. This is for the lap frame. And they do this better than anybody. So Ronnie does these, and he finishes the holes for the legs of the R&R lap frame to go down through. So, yay. Because I'm hoping more of the R&R, I'll buy them for myself if I don't get them as gifts, but they're on my list for my birthday. We'll see how that works. And then, as I was looking through, I also wanted some 11x17s, because I have a couple of bigger projects, and eventually I'll have those kind of living on 11x17s for a while, once I really start to work on them. Like Shores of Hawkrun Hollow may be on an 11x17 on a lap frame for daily work. And here are my lighthouses. This is my kind of my Cape Cod theme. Where's my lighthouse? Yeah. So I had to get 2 of this pattern in Grime guards. I got an 11x17 and then another lap stand one. This is 11x11, isn't it? Here's my tag, Ronnie. Here we go. Yeah, another 11x11 lap stand. Then I kept looking. I should have stopped then, but I found this one, which is another 11x17, but it is all, I don't know if I can get it where it'll show. It's like sea stuff. Sea creatures and kelp and coral and scallops and little fishes and octopus and all of that are on this Grime guard. So I ordered the Grime guard. Then I went through and I said, I wonder if they put this on an envelope. Because even if I didn't plan to buy an envelope, if it has this theme, this lighthouses, Cape Cod, Eastern Seashore kind of a thing, I was going to be interested. And sure enough, they did and one of the smaller bags too, and that's what I would have wanted. So I ordered the bag and was able to buy it. I was one of the people who got in on that haul. And then it came, and I opened it up and that fabric with all the sea creatures is on the inside of this bag. I was so delighted and so excited that I had ordered this, because it couldn't be any better. They put the sea creatures in the ocean. My final piece of haul, as if that weren't enough, I found that as I was doing the Maynia, I knew I didn't have all the flosses I needed, but I kept bumping into that loss, to that lack. And of course, they're really hard to find. So our Michaels opened this week. And I put my mask on and I went in with my list, and I ended up, I still haven't gotten all of them, and kind of wondering if DMC has changed numbers on a couple, because I haven't been able to get a couple of them anywhere. Even on when I went for anchor conversions, I didn't get one, I don't think. But these are the flosses that I was able to get, and some of them, I can tell you right now, are for primitive hair. Some of my primitive hair patterns. I think that these might be for my Kathy Haberman things. Some of these are for the Soda Stitch Halloween pieces. I also am doing their mermaid one. I started it earlier in the month, so that. And then this is for one of the Halloween Happy Haunting piece that I got. So I was able to get a bunch. That's for Happy Haunting too. These are A12s, which I haven't used yet, but they get rave reviews. So I got that, and then looked up, and they had the kit, the new DMC colors. I have a couple of a couple of Maynia kitted projects. One of them is from Primitive Hair, had 2 of the new colors that she'd used. And I didn't have any of the new ones. And my LNS doesn't have any of the new ones. So, because they don't carry DMC. So I treated myself to this. I had a coupon and it was like $30. And I got some % off. And I'm glad I did. They're very pretty. And I know, for example, like the Primitive Hair is using one of these. I think it's number 2. Yeah, this gray here is one of them. So even if I didn't want to use this, I could convert it by at least knowing what the color was. So that was my treat to myself. It's all a treat to myself because I don't have to have any of these lovely things. But I picked it up. I had to go through them. They were all dented, so except for this one. Or if it is dented, but it's not bashed in like the others were. So there it is. Plans for this week. Today, like I said, I want to go do a little bit of sewing on the machine if I can, if my back will stand it. And then I'm going to settle in. I have no place to go, nothing else to do. I can get this edited and get it started on its exporting so that I can post it soon. And other than that, then I'm just going to go finish my boxes, my GaRon Harlow boxes. And then we'll be actually starting color next week. That's so exciting. I love that chart so much. So thank you. I had a couple of new subscribers since last week, and people actually commenting and talking to me and giving me some good advice and good suggestions. So thank you for doing that. And wish me luck getting up from the seat and into where my computer is. Things are going to be a little stiff for a while. At any rate, take care, be safe. California is showing a big rise now, another big rise in COVID cases. This was not unexpected, so the news isn't really talking much about it. The state can't afford to stay locked down, which probably should be happening based on the numbers that they're seeing. But after Mother's Day and then Memorial Day, there's been a big spike, a second wave in California, and we're only there. I think there are 13 other states seeing the same thing, and that doesn't count on the protest contact. So, because that hasn't really started yet. So, best of luck. Stay safe if you're out on the streets protesting. Know that my heart is with you, even if my old self isn't. I've done it. I've been there. And I will end on an up note, if I may. My niece is a principal of a school in that Lake neighborhood in Minneapolis where this all started. And that is her home neighborhood. She can walk to work. She walks her dog on Lake. Her pharmacy burned down. That's where they used to go for ice cream. I don't know if their ice cream place is still there or not, because that damage went all the way up and down lake. And I didn't cry with these protests until she posted a picture of a black man hanging plywood on her school's windows, her preschool's windows, where she's a principal. And she has nothing now after this week, nothing but praise for her neighborhood. All of the windows are plywooded up, and they are covered with, it's like 1 3-mile beautiful mural, different artists painting different things on the plywood, and she is so proud to be part of that neighborhood. I'm so happy to see things move along in a positive way, at least where she lives. So going through what she's gone through, that's saying a lot for the quality of people that she lives around there. In her main comment, her main message early on, as she walked the street and posted pictures of her street, she was saying, you know, there's a burned out pharmacy. She says, that was my pharmacy. This is where we walk our dog. This is where we go for ice cream. And then there was a little, kind of a little extra space in there, and she said, and this is where my friends, my black friends, are being murdered. And this is where my black friends are afraid. And, you know, she's a pretty special woman anyway, but that, if anything could make me admire her more, it was having that neighborhood attitude, that attitude about her friends and neighbors in that district. So, running out of battery, physically and electronically. And I will see you next week. Bye.